Today topic where we are going to discuss about inter-country adoption and other conflict of laws. So first of all, we want to know about what is mean by inter-country adoption, right? So inter-country adoption is quite when we talk about it is an adoption process which will be happening uh, outside the states when we talk about not within the territory when we talk about that means if adoption process which is being initiated within the states or within the territory means that means the intra country adoption. So inter-country adoption is between one country to another country, the adoption process which may happen. So in that way this becomes an inter-country adoption under the conflict of laws. So conflict of law here, why we chose this topic is it is not only your domestic law which is being in conflict, even the other country's domestic law which is also being in conflict. So in that way, I found it this would be the apt way. So that's why I chose this topic. So first of all, we'll come to the concept, how the term, so etymology of what the term adopt which comes from. So the term which comes from the etymology, Latin term adoptere, which means to choose, to take by choice into a relationship, especially a voluntarily taking a child from their own biological parents. So, adoption is the act of legally placing a child with a parent or parents other than those to whom they were born. So when you talk about a statutory definition as such, there is no. But in upcoming sessions, we'll try to give you a statutory definition. What is mean by adoption? So next we'll be moving on to what are the international frameworks which are governing this inter-country adoption especially. So when we talk about in the case of inter-country adoption, the first convention, when we talk about the base convention, first of all, the convention on the rights of the child. So in short, we may say it as a CRC convention in the year of 1989. So this would be the basic stance setting text on adoptions. So especially when we see about the CRC convention, we have umpty number of rights which are there in the CRC convention. So all those rights which pave, especially which will be a safeguarding, protecting and prevention mechanism, especially for the children's. So next convention, when we talk about the inter-country adoption, when you talk about which is being regulated by the Hague Convention on the protection of children and cooperation in respect of inter-country adoption in the year of 1990. So another Hague Convention, when we talk about in the case of which is on Hague Convention on jurisdiction, applicable law, recognition, enforcement, and cooperation in respect of parental responsibility, measures for the protection of child in the year of 1996. So these will be the basic or stance setting, or when you talk about the international frameworks, especially when we are talking about the inter-country adoptions. So next one we see about this slide which will gives you how this inter adoption processes which may happen from a stage by stage process. So what are the procedural formalities as well as the law requirements you have to comply with that. So next we may see in the case of what are the legal provisions in India. So in Indian legislation does not specifically deals about inter-country adoptions. So each and every time by way of a Supreme Court decisions, as well as we will be referring back to our Indian Constitution, and earlier when we talk about the Guardians and What's Act which is being there, so that for issuing or how regulated over the guidelines, so through which Supreme Court is also having taking measures to setting norms to regulate these inter-country adoptions. Second, when we talk about the government of India under that there is the adoption of 12 children bill, which was in the year of 1980. They were trying to insert the provisions for the inter-country adoptions for the first time, clauses 23 and 24, which talks about it, but it is not that much effective. And later on, with the Law Commission report number 153 in the year of 1994, which also talks about inter-country adoptions, setting out norms and regulations or guidelines how to carry on and how to be monitored and how to protect the child and all. And later on, which will be followed by the inter-country adoption regulation in the year of 2017, which was came into effect on 4th January 2017. So this regulation which forms a basis of when you talk about the inter-country adoptions. So next, when we talk about what are the other acts which are involved or other legal provisions which are involved in this case, when you talk about inter-country adoption, Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956 is there. Section 4 to 12, which talks about who can adopt and how the adoption process has to be initiated and what are the procedural requirements they have to be complied with, who might be adopted. So all those which will be discussed in the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956, which in short we may say it as a HMA Act, HMA as section 4 to 12. And next act when we talk about in the case of a Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Amendment Act 2015, which guarantees a right to an adopted child as recognized under the international obligation by the all Hague members. So when you talk about this JJ Act, in short we may say it's a JJ Act, which is again will be setting a standard or international obligations for the already whatever the other two presiding Hague Convention was there, even with that also been slightly be adopted, and this JJ Act did not define that what is mean by adoption, but they try to express or give some sort of meaning towards the definition called adoption. So in the section in the Amendment Act 2015, section 2 clause AA, which talks about adoption. Adoption means the process through which the adopted child is permanently separated from his biological parents and became their legitimate child of his adoptive parents with all rights, privileges and responsibilities that are attached to their relationship. So this is what the definition which are 2000 JJ 2000 Amendment Act, which gives you a picture. So before that there is no law which tried to give or try to give some sort of a definition, or they did not try to define what is mean by adoption at all. So based upon that, we may see that even the international or even the domestic level framework, we may say that what would be the prime importance of this inter-country adoption is that best interest of the child. So everything will be decided in the favor of a child. It should not be for state will has to. Obviously, the state will has a obligation and the responsibility as well as a duty to protect the child. But even also that child interest also becomes a prime importance when you talk about. So in that way, whatever the child interest, that should goes into hand in hand with the interest of the state also. So this slide you may see that how the adoption process which will happen in India. So you may have a slight flow chart or a mapping of how it will be happen from the how it has to be started to the end process. So when the child goes back to the another country. So another important authority when we talk about here is a CARA. CARA is nothing but a Central Adoption Resource Authority. In short, we may say it as a CARA. So when you talk about this CARA, under which body this CARA has been has been established. When you talk about the CARA is a statutory body under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, under the JJ, which will be particularly have look from the JJ Act to Amendment Act 2015. From that, this Ministry of Women and Child has approving the status, and they were establishing a body called Central Adoption Resource Authority, which means CARA. So this CARA is basically setting our norms and principles of how inter-country adoption has to be happen, and what is the procedural compliances has to be happen, and how it should be regulated, and how the whether the child is safe or not, the protection mechanism, everything should be taken care by this CARA. So this CARA is a central government agency again. So when you talk about in the case of a state authority, we may say it's a SARA. Again, SARA is a State Adoption Resource Authority. So these two agencies will take care of whatever the adoption process will be happening in and around, which will be noted on. And this will these agencies will facilitate the child as well as the biological parents as well as their adoptive parents. It is like a inter-country mechanism, inter-agency mechanism to facilitate that child, whether that child is safe or in what way the carings and how the adoptive parents are taking care of it, whatever the child is in need of anything, or when you talk about whether the child is safe or that particular child is any abusing which is violence which is happening on the particular child which has been adopted or what. So each and every time this CARA and SARA will take care of that particular adoptive child. They'll be keep on monitor after the adoption process happened also. So next, when we talk about this CARA, so this CARA, when we talk about this, established from the Ministry of Women and Child Development, again it has been an autonomous body which has been initiated by the Government of India. It is for both inter-country as well as the intra-country adoptions also. Again, each and every applications are submitted before these CARA guidelines or the adoptive parents, whoever may be the Indian citizen or outside the Indian, which may be a foreign nationals who want their child adoption. So I have to comply with the certain procedural formalities and the guidelines or norms and guidelines they have to follow according to the CARA guidelines. So if they are fit only, they can give that child into adoption. So when we talk about this CARA, we may say that also it has to be comply with the child care institutions. So that guidelines also have to fulfilled. So according to from the JJ Act, again this JJ Act which also gives a state government should recognize suitable child care institutions, because it should not be fake. So everything will be government also will be taken care of that particular institutions, and they will take care of the proper infrastructure of the adoptive child, and with the child with the special needs or quality of child care services. So those all each and time and again there will be monitoring checks and controls which will happen in the these kind of institutions as well as the agencies authority also. And the next slide, we may say that you may see that a recent trend from 2016 to 2020, we may see that the the graphics which you may see that how it has been increased in the year of 2016 to 17, and you may see how it is rapidly keep on decreasing level in the case of 2019 to 20, and you may see that in-country adoption you may see, which means intra adoptions, which means keep on high, and in the case of 2019 to 20 it is decreasing also. Even inter-country adoption which is being again marked into some yellowish shade, again it will be keep on decreasing also. Why? Because the CARA and SARA will have a stringent rules, and even they just can't adopt the child also, again if they adopted the child also, again they have a certain procedural mechanism, they have to each and every time have to comply with that, and by way of a transparent manner should be there what is happening each and every time. These agencies also will, the agency or the authorities will keep on monitor the child activities as well as their adoptive parents also. So in that way we may say that all those procedural compliances or monitoring mechanisms, it will be keep on decreasing also. And another one, when we talk about who are adoptables for inter-country adoption, is as per CARA guidelines, which is JJ Act. When you talk about, there are three types of children are recognized as adoptables. First category, which will be of a abandoned child below or 2 years. So abandoned child who is below the age of 2 years is the first category, and second category is the abandoned child above 2 years of age, and third category of a surrendered child, a 2 months reconsideration should be the time for their given to the biological parents. So first two categories we may say that the particular child has been abandoned. So third category is their biological parents itself willing to give that child for adoption. So in that way, the 2 months reconsideration period, suppose their biological parents may think of their decision and they comes to say that no, we don't want to give an adoption, so we'll take care of the child by ourselves. So in that way, the time duration of 2 months should be a gestation period, or when you talk about the thinking period for their biological parents whether to give the child an adoption or not. So later on, once they given the adoption, they later on cannot deny that also. So these are all the three categories when we talk about inter-country adoptions who are being made of us. So another clipping of this news clipping image we may see it's there are top 5 states where adopted children were being retained. Why? Because they are retained. Again, there is a they need no they can't able to comply with the whatever the CARA and SARA guidelines as which is there, and as well as the child care institutions. So they are not able to fulfill, or they could not able to taken care of the child properly. In that way, they will be returned back to the states, country or a state where they are adopted. So top ranking which will be in the case of Maharashtra, and second will be the Karnataka, and another third status will be of Odisha, and fourth will be Madhya Pradesh, and fifth will be the Delhi. And these all will be the top 5 leading states which are especially in the case of adopting the children. So from these country states only, there are more childs are being going to abroad or outside that particular territory for the adoption process. So finally we'll come to a conclusion saying that once a child has been adopted, what are the problems which are subsisting in the case of inter-country adoptions? So you may see in this image. First is the child trafficking, forced prostitution, forced negligence, and domestic succession, and identity crisis, and even when you talk about organ theft, forced marriage, and selling baby, and forced labor, child abductions. These are all the many problems which are keep on persisting in the case of adoption process itself. Either it may be inter-country or intra-country, this might be the problems each and every time they are be facing these kind of problems. Even the government as well as these institutional setups as well as the inter-country agencies also, and even some fake child care institutions also been run saying that I was certified from Government of India, saying that they are selling babies for money, from money for and getting more money if especially when they are selling a baby to any foreign national. So in this way, these are all the problems which are persisted. So with the SARA and CARA and child care institutions, they are somewhat tried to give their best to avoid these kind of problems, and even whatever the lacunas which is there are slightly coming up forward for a future and a better, and when you talk about a more of form of a good piece of a legislation which will be sort all those things, and each and every time we can't depend upon our legislation also. Again, there should be a guidelines and norms and regulations through which we can try to come up with all those lacunas or whichever the problems which are persisting. So this Kara and Sarah and with the government and setup that try to come forward with the amicable solutions, and even they are making sure that the particular child which is being adopted is safe, and which has been in a good condition, good healthy foods and good education and everything which will be provided by their adoptive parents also. So each and every time it will be keep on monitoring also. So in that way we may say that these problems are now somewhat be sorted out, and still a slight few which is being persisting. So that way if any problem is faced out, these agencies will go there and step into there and they'll sort out the problem also. So in that way we may say that inter-country adoption is now becoming a more stringent way, and they can't just escape from the law saying that I was not aware or I don't know. So these kind of stances they can't take. So these agencies are doing a really wonderful job in doing this. So in that way we may say that we'll be more into even the Supreme Court guidelines is each and every time in the leading cases also, where we may say that there will be each and every time the child best interest of the child as well as the child's protections and child cares are taken care in a much a broader way to ensure their safety mechanism and safety and security mechanism for a effective rapid internalization of these mechanisms into their countries also. In that way we'll be seeing looking forward to more of a good piece of legislations as well as the norms which can be improved more and more. So with that finishing off, thank you.